Welcome back to the workbench, and we're still working on the Transformers Starscream Gundam build. We thought we had finished it last episode, but I was actually mistaken. There was a couple things that we didn't do, starting with, let me show you here. We had this piece here that was just kind of left over. We actually put it together in step 31. And if you look here, you can barely tell. They don't actually show it getting assembled, but I found it. It goes right here on his back. So let's go ahead and take care of that real quick. Let's see, which way does it go? It goes, I think, with the cone facing down. How does it go in here? Right there? Oh, here, I see. It goes like right there. That is not staying on there very well. How does this work? I am doing this the correct direction. Yeah, there's two little indentions here that this is going to fit into. I really should have tested this before I started the camera. I thought it would go right on. Let's see. Does it slide on? No. Am I doing this in the wrong place? That goes right there. There we go. I was just a little too high. So anyways, that goes there. They don't make it very obvious. Let's see. Can you guys see this? They don't make it very obvious that that needed to be assembled. But I also missed a bunch of decals. And where did I put my decal sheet? I was just happened to look at the decal sheet. I was like, oh, there's a bunch of decals left over. So what I did is I went through and actually highlighted the decals that we needed to put on. So let's actually just do that real quick. Let's see. Oh, these go on the hips. Okay, we got ones that go on the hips. What is it? S19, the round ones. That's easy enough. And I have lost my X-Acto knife. So we're going to have to just do this by hand. I might have to go get my X-Acto knife. I used it downstairs. I think I've left it down there. Tell you what, I can just use tweezers. All right, so these go on the hips. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Make sure I get them lined up. Make sure you guys can see what I'm doing also. So right there, they go right here on the hips. One on each side. And like I said, I could have probably done this all, or if I did this again, I would just do it with paint. I think paint would make it look better than the decals. I'm not a huge fan of decals. Sometimes it's the way you have to do it. But a lot of times I like to just do this with paint. And in fact, or especially on these, because this, let me show you this decal here, if I can get it to focus. It has a little bit of a couple lines on it. Well, those lines are actually molded into the plastic here, so it would actually look a lot better to paint this silver and then just do some black wash in there to bring out those lines. But like I stated from the very beginning, I want to do this build. Basically, this is my first Gundam, so I want to build it like it's, straight out of the box, how it's the instructions say to build it. So that's kind of what we're doing there. Whoa, let me not knock him over. And then we've got some that are going to go, let's see, they're on the legs. Oh boy, I might not even, oh, I see, they go, where did these go? These are on the legs. Okay, so, no, I'm sorry, that's the arms. Oh, I see, they go on the front of the arms here. I see where they go. They're going to go, we got some decals that go here, which is 21. Where is 21? Is this little guy here. 21 goes here, up on the top of the shoulder of the arm. And then what is the number for this one? 25. Yeah, 25 goes on the lower portion of the arm. And then these are just regular, your stick-on type decals. They're not water slides or anything like that I'm kind of used to doing for cars. And then, so let's do the other arm, which is the other, what is it, 22 and 26. So upper part of the arm. And I think the rest of this episode, we are going to be doing some black washes on these to bring out the lines. I'll kind of show you how, at least how I do that. And then we might do some weathering too, if we have time. Which I think I'm just going to do with just using some rub and buff just to make it look like there's some scratches and some wears and whatnot, wear marks and whatnot in his armor. If I can get this on here straight. There we go. Can you guys see this? I'm trying to stay a little bit more zoomed in so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing, but it makes it a little harder for me to keep it in frame. So I'll try to keep it in frame for you. When you see me, by the way, when you see me looking up this way, when I'm looking up you can't see it, but my camera, my down-facing camera is right here, and I have the little monitor up on the camera. So I'm sure I look funny looking up, but that's what I'm trying to make sure that I've got everything in frame. That's what I'm doing when I look up. But I'll try to look at you guys a little more often too. That knee came loose. I've been having trouble with this knee. It just does not want to stick. You know what? Why even mess with it? I'm going to lay it down. And I don't know if this is against the rules with Gundams, but I'm going to put just a drop of CA right there. Because this knee piece, it's the only piece. Everything else on here fits very tightly. In fact, I mean, very tightly. It's hard to even get them. I don't know what's going on with this knee piece. Why it's not wanting to. Let me hold it for a second. Everything else on this kit has fit extremely tightly, and you can absolutely build without glue. This one piece, and it's still not wanting to. Something's happened here. I'm not sure. I need to come more underneath. I don't know if something broke on this piece. It has two pegs that fit in right there, and then it's supposed to go on the knee. But I can't, for the life of me, get that to happen. Did one of the pegs break? No? I mean, nothing looks broken. It's just not wanting to. Am I way low on this? I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. Yeah, I'm looking at the other knee to compare it. Nothing's... Something has definitely happened to this knee piece, and I cannot get the little knee cap to stay attached. This is what happens when you record these live. I want you guys to see kind of all the struggles that go along. What is going on with this? You're definitely getting to see a struggle here. I do not know why this kneecap does not want to reattach. There's two, let me make sure you can see, there's two peg holes here and then like a keyed, it looks like a T. So it's kind of keyed. There's a T peg and then two regular pegs on the kneecap. And for the life of me, it does not want to reattach. And I don't know what's happened. I don't think just pushing it harder is going to be the answer. Should be fitting right there. I feel like those something's happened to these pegs that go in right there. Yeah, this is not, I've really got a problem here. We need to get this figured out before we move on. Is there something, can I go ahead and pull this out of the way maybe? Let's pull that off and see if that helps. Maybe it was just getting in the way. Like this is made to, this one works, right? There, I think I've got it. And hopefully, okay, there we go. Let's not touch it too much. I think that glue will help hold it. Yeah, I don't know what's happened in that kneecap, but there, I think we've got it fixed. I'm not going to touch it. It's staying attached. Nobody move, nobody breathe on it. Okay, where were we? We were doing our decals. We just finished our arm decals. Let me move him out of the way very carefully. Okay. And then because we just, what do we have left? So that was, what about 27, 28? $25, $26. Oh, it goes front and back, I think. Is that what the deal is? Yeah. Okay, that's going to actually be, at this point, going to be a little more difficult. I think these will fold. Oh, they'll fold out of the way. Perfect. So these guys, which is 25, nope, 20, I don't know. I think I might have put the wrong stickers in the wrong place, but they're all the same. They're all the same thing. So I'm just going to stick them. We're going to go with it. This one goes right up here. It's the same as the last shoulder, just up top. If I can get it. This would have been a lot easier to do if I had noticed these steps at the time we were actually building the shoulders and arms and whatnot. But here we are. And then this one is here. This guy here is going to go. Yeah, and I filmed these live. I mean, you're seeing every bit of these builds we're doing here on the bench. You're seeing every second. The only thing, there has been a couple of times I've painted some stuff off camera just because it takes time to dry. But as far as the building process, you're seeing every second of it. So you can kind of see, at least for me, the struggles that I go through. Well, let's get out of the way a little more. I should be able to get them in there. The struggles I go through with building these different kits and these different projects that we're doing. You can see the entire process too, at least that what I go through. As far as the process that I go through as far as building these, I don't know, especially with these Gundams, I know there's, I'm sure there's way better ways to do this stuff that the guys and girls who do this all the time know. Well, I mean, well, I just lost. Again, you see the struggles. I just knocked that decal. Here it is. Knocked it off, and now I got to find it. Here it is, right here. But they, I'm sure there's way better processes as far as doing this. One of which would be applying these decals at the time of building the arms or whatever they're called for in the actual step. Get up there. Because now it's a little more difficult to get them in place. There we go. And now the one for the bottom back of the arm. Goes right here. If I can get it up in. Sorry. When I get quiet, that's when I'm concentrating. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's got those done. Okay, now we just have these little bitty guys. They're little bitty triangles. I don't know, they're almost not even worth putting on, but calls for them in the instructions, so I'm going to do it. So 15 and 16 go on the knees there. Gosh, please don't knock the knee off when I do this. These are so, I mean, really tiny. Can you guys even see? Let me get it in focus. See how tiny that is? And they're going to go on the knee right. I don't even know how I'm going to get this off of the tweezers. They're so tiny. There we go. It actually stuck good. There's one. And that knee piece stayed, so I feel good about that. So now 16. I don't even know where it's at. Where is it at? It's so tiny I can't even see it. I think it's stuck. There it is. All right. Onto the knee. Hopefully. Trying to just use my thumb. Well, I got it off, but in the wrong place. And I can move it in place with the tweezers. Okay, and then push. I'm going to push it down with the tweezers also. All right. I think that's pretty close. It's so hard to even tell. And then the other ones, there's two more little bit triangles that go, they go right up here on his chest piece. So let's try to get these guys in. This would be so much easier to do with paint. I don't know why I'm putting myself through this struggle. Okay. All right, that one went okay. So I can get it kind of adhered. Okay, and then one more, and that should be all, yeah, that'll be all the decals. Thank goodness. Yeah, water slides, I don't know what they, yeah, well, they're doing foils too, I guess, is part of the reason, but I don't know, water slides would be a better way of doing this in these rather regular kind of adhesive style decals. I'm guessing, I don't know if this is how all the Gundam decals are, like they're this kind of, you know, they're on a foil. I'm assuming, because, you know, most, you know, I guess they're wanting it to be, you know, obviously Gundams are kind of robots. Well, I've got that stuck on there, stuck in the wrong place. Come on. Move on up. Move up. See, again, if this was a water slide, I could just slide it right up real easily where it needs to go. Almost. There we go. There we go. It slid into place. There's actually a little indentation, little triangular indentation where that goes. Can you guys, I don't even know if you guys can see what I'm doing. But there we go. That's got all the decals done. So let's just move all this out of the way. Here's our, let me lay him flat so you can kind of see him a little bit. And there's our guy. Now, so what I want to do, I think what'll be a good idea. There's just so much detailed moldings in all of this, from the guns, his arms, everything else. So I think what I want to do is just use some black. They actually, they make a, what is it? A panel line wash. I can't think of what they call it. It's a black wash that's made for panel lines like this. The guys who do aircrafts like jets and things use it a lot. I don't actually have any of that, but what I do have, this is some Vallejo, just game wash. It's just black wash. I had this laying around. So I think I'll use this and just a brush and try to, kind of pull out some of these detail lines. I think before we do that, though, I am seeing a couple spots in the blue that I'd like to touch up. The red and the silver all looks really good, but there's a couple spots in the blue, like if you can see his knuckle here, that's where it was attached to the sprue. You know, just all these little spots that need a little bit of touch up, like in the legs. So what I'm going to do, now this is spray paint, which I can't, you know, I got to think about this though, because I don't have, how do I want to do it? I might just use a sponge or something to try to touch it up, because I don't have right here on hand anything to clean my brushes with, because this is the paint. This is the blue, right? Original Honda. Yeah. This is the blue here, which is a spray paint, which is, this is going to need thinner to clean. I'm thinking while I'm doing it. But I think I'll just use a sponge, and then you know what? I'll use the lid of the red. I hate doing this inside, but what you can do, this is about to really smell up my workroom. Sorry, that's probably really loud. Let me hold it back here and do it. I'm about to smell up my workroom. What I'm going to do is just spray. Let me do it with him not sitting there. I'm just going to spray some blue in here. Build it up a little bit. That should be good. Whew. Yeah, that smells good. And then I can use this. I think I'm going to use just the sponge, the tip of the sponge, to try to just touch up that paint. Let me hold it so you guys can see. Yeah, that's working pretty good. I thought I saw this hand here, because I don't need much. It's not, and it doesn't have to be perfect, because like I said, we're gonna weather this up a little bit. So little light spots in the paint, but that was way too light of spots in the paint. So I need to try to, yeah, that looks pretty good. I saw a little spot right here. I gotta be careful not to hit the silver. Let's see if I can do this. And of course I hit the silver. So let me clean that off real quick. All right, I think that's going to work okay. Then here's a spot here I want to touch up just a little bit. think that looks better. I think that's going to work. I'm trying to see if there's anything anywhere else that I wanted to, anything real noticeable. I think right there on the knee, if I can. Right there. Yeah. Okay. I like how that looks. So there we go as far as touching that up, and then I can just throw this sponge away and not have to worry about cleaning a brush. But now what I want to do is, like I said, I want to try to bring out some of these panel lines, or these molding lines, I guess you could say. I'm going to set him right there so you can see. I've got a lot of times I just use like a bottle cap. This is a Crawford bottle cap, Texas beer. So I'm going to use that to, let me make sure I'm in frame for you guys. I'm going to use that to hold my my black wash. Just like that. And then I can use just a fine line brush, and I'm just going to try to do an example here, right here on these. Just lay that wash in there. You can lay it in thick and let it run around. Like that. Maybe actually pick it up so maybe you guys can see a little better. Like that. And then what I can do, I'll use another one of my sponges. By the way, these are like sponges that I guess ladies use to put on makeup, or I guess some guys, or anybody who wears makeup, I should say, they use to put on like foundation or whatever, I guess. I really don't know, but you can get them in the cosmetic sections of stores. They're like a high density foam. They're really nice. Kind of disposable, and I use them for these kind of things. So basically I'm just going to brush back on the high spots, and now you can see, well, hopefully you can see how it brings out those lines a little bit. And we can just do that basically for everything. Like there's a little spot there, there's a spot here. And you don't have to worry too much about being sloppy, not sloppy, because what we'll do, again, is come back and just wipe off the high spots, and it leaves the low indentions, and you get a good, it gives it depth. It gives it like a shadow, kind of artificial depth, I guess you could say. And I'm just going to work my way through this with you guys so you can literally see it happening. Here we go. And again, just kind of wipe. And now you can kind of see, hopefully you guys can see that starting to pop out. You can see the difference between the two guns already. I hope this shows up on YouTube. In person, it definitely looks. I'm gonna go over these again. And that's the other thing too, is you can do it as many times as you want. Now, if you want to let it dry, like so. And I'm kind of do the front, and then maybe the side, and then the backs. Just work my way, getting it all, everything that I want, all the different mold lines done across the entire model here. Let me see. Starting that, I'm gonna go back, get that again right there. And then you want variation in your lines anyway. Also, you want darks and lights, and you don't want it all to be just solid black. That's why we're using a wash. You don't want to just use black paint, because you don't want solid black lines. Then it looks like, well, I mean, you could if you want, I guess. It could be a very stylized thing. I know a lot of the Gundam guys are doing that comic book style, that kind of anime style. I don't know. I think there is a name for it. I don't know what it is, but you see people doing some of the cars, and like real cars, automotive cars, with that anime stylized dark black line. It looks like it'd be a lot of fun to do. I've never done it. I don't know anything. I'm sure there's techniques to it, which I don't know. Where did my blue go? I just saw a spot I want to touch up here. So you can obviously you can paint these things any way you want. It's yours to do. Is there any blue left in there? Hopefully, touch that up just a little bit. So you could use just black paint to do this. I'm using it. I'm doing it like if we were doing like most of the time you would do like if you were doing an F-15 or some kind of jet fighter, or you're even a World War II plane, like you do your panel lines like this, just to bring them out. We can even do the blue. I think it'll look good on the blue here. I can touch it kind of around in here a little bit. In fact, I think I'll just go all in there like so. And then again, just take it off the high points, which would be your highlights. And so those deeper, I don't know if y'all could see me doing any of that. I gotta make sure I stay in frame for you guys. You can see the deeper sections or the deeper indentations gives a little bit more dimension. And you want to go heavy with it, like kind of just kind of blob it in there. I kind of drop it in because it's also going to dry lighter, so it's not going to be as a solid black once this wash actually dries, fully dries. So you want to go heavier with it than you think, like that. I think I'm going to do his hand. Now this is, again, I don't know if this is how most guys would do, most of the people who build Gundams, if this is how they would go about. I don't know. This is how I've always used washes as far as model builds, so that's what I'm just incorporating it into this build. And I think that's going to make him look pretty good. I think I'm going to do this arm here as best I can, because this will be the arm I think we're going to use for our example of weathering too. This is the one I'll use it. I'll use some rub and buff on because I think we're probably going to run out of time. I'm not going to be able to do all of this all at once, all in this 45 minutes that we have. We're already almost up to 30 minutes because of the decals kind of took longer than I was expecting. So I'll get this one nice and kind of washed in, this arm that is. I'm going to pull his arm open a little bit so I can see. And then we'll use, like I said, we'll use this one. We'll use some of the rub and buff. You can see on these fingers, I'm just kind of washing it completely over. Just paint the entire hand with the wash, like this. And then you can come back and tap that off. Now, also, there's another way you could probably do this. I know a lot of the, one of the main ways the Warhammer guys, the guys that paint the little figures, the little Warhammers and whatnot, they'll lay, I guess they lay the lighter color first, like say like a light gray, and then they'll come back with their black, wipe off the tops, let that dry. In fact, if it was me, I'd even set it in with like with a clear or something, and then you paint all the colors with wash. So we could do a blue wash, a red wash, and those, and then because it's a wash, it's translucent, so you can see those darks and lights from the underlying. It's I think there's a name for that technique too. It's a way to do it quickly, to paint these very quickly, because you just do the whole thing in a light and then a dark, and then knock all the tops off, and then just wash all the colors across it. And you can do it very quickly, because a lot of times they army build, I guess you call it. They'll do 15, 50, 100 of the same figures, so it's a fast way to do it very quickly. That's another idea, I guess, for doing these kind of things. I'm not sure if that's frowned upon in the Gundam world. Again, I don't, I never know a lot of times there's communities that surround the different types of builds, whether it's Warhammer or Gundam or cars, or, I like building all of it, as you'll notice from this channel. I like doing it all. But a lot of times there's just certain techniques that has kind of become accepted in the certain building communities, I guess you could say. Kind of liking how this is turning out. So I don't know what, and again, I could have been doing this as we went along building. Did this knee just come loose? These knees are killing me. Okay, I'm gonna have to glue that one on too at some point. I could have been doing this as we went along, which would have been the much easier way to do this instead of me trying to flip him upside down on his head and do it afterwards. But I just wanted to get it built for you guys so you could see the building process, and then now we can come back and kind of start, you know, doing what I consider the fun part. This is the fun stuff, I think. All right, so I think that's pretty good for his arm. I kind of like how that looks. I really should have grabbed some water. I don't know why I didn't. I can probably just clean this brush pretty easily with just using a rag. Yeah, I kind of like how that's looking as far as the, hopefully you guys can kind of see what's going on here. See the gun. What I think I'll do is I'm going to continue working on this a little bit while this arm dries. I'll let it dry up. So I'm going to kind of work on his shoulder. Let's see. Yeah, I'll work his shoulder and some other areas while the arm dries. And then once it's nice and dry, I think we'll come back and we'll try to use, like I said, some of the rubber buff. I keep mentioning it. I guess I could show you for those that don't know. In fact, I've got two pulled out. I buy this stuff in sets usually. So this is actually Rub and Buff here. This is wax. What is? Oh, it's Silver Leaf, and this is Pewter. I figured these two would probably work well on here. Yeah, but anyways, it's basically just it's a silver. What do they call it? A wax metallic finish that you apply, and then you can kind of rub off. You rub it on and buff it off. It's just literally the name Rub and Buff. It works to give that look of like, so say this is like an anodized metal or something, and when something dings into it, you get that silver underneath of it or within it, like that aluminum color. Unfortunately, I think I'm out of my aluminum, but I think silver and pewter will work. Anyways, and it's a good way to give those kind of scuffed marks on edges. So like on all these sharp edges, it's a good way to give that effect, you know, to really weather it up. And I'm keep working here. I should be working while I'm talking. It's something I've definitely got to work on, is learning to work and talk at the same time. Chew gum and walk, never been my strong suit. So let me keep, I'm going to try to get maybe this arm kind of weathered in a little bit here, or lined in, I guess you'd say. I am leaving a little of the black also kind of on the shoulders. Hopefully you can see, just to give it a little bit of I don't want to make it too dirty. I don't want to go overboard, but just to give it a little bit of a grime, grease, especially in areas like this, like back in where there would be, you know, where there's movement, and there would probably be oils and stuff back here, and grime would start building up. So, you know, outside of just applying it in the lines, I'm going to also try to grime it up just a little bit, but not a lot. I don't want to go overboard. You can easily, and it's fun. You can go as far as you want with weathering. To me, it's the best part of building. I'd much rather build an old rusty car than a brand new shiny car. It's more fun. You don't have to be as precise as doing, you know, these perfect paint jobs. You know, I enjoy the weathering process. I think most people do. You can because of that, because of the enjoyment of it, you can easily go overboard with it. I always have to kind of rein myself back. Otherwise it gets really ridiculous looking. It gets a very unrealistic look because I'm just having so much fun, you know, trying to weather it up as much as I can. So that's why I always, in my brain, I'm telling myself, you know, keep it back, rein it back a little bit. I think these inside portions, I'd like to have a little bit more of the black wash in here. And you can kind of just touch it, just to lighten it. There we go. So I'm kind of liking how that's looking. I think I want a little bit up under the shoulder here just to add some shadow, just like so. And you can let it kind of drip down. You can pull it down yourself, and then you can go back and just touch it to lighten it up. There we go. Kind of liking how that arm looks. Let's see if I can get it in the light. That arm compared, look at this arm compared to this arm, I guess you would say. Hopefully you guys can see that. Hopefully you can see that on YouTube, that it's kind of coming through, that it's just a little bit more used looking. It looks like an arm that's actually been out in the world a little bit and used. Kind of like how that is going. All right. Touch that back just a little bit. Now, just real quickly, because we are running out of time, I think I'm going to take this edge because this should all be nice and dry. And I'll kind of show you how I do, how I use the rub and buff. Let me clean this brush real quick. What do I have that I can put it on? I didn't even think about that. What can I use? Oh, I have this. This will work. This is a tin that I use for paint sometime, as you can see. I'll use that. So what I'm going to do is just put a little. Hopefully this stuff's still good. Yeah, it's, let me clear out the tip of it. Did that get it? I think so. Well, let's try the pewter. This stuff is quite old. Okay, this one hasn't even been opened, so it'll be perfect. We'll use this. We'll use pewter. So I'll just squeeze a little bit right here into the tray. Can you guys even see the tray? You cannot. Let me move this all over some. So I just squeeze some right here into the tray. I've got to get better lighting in here. That's the next. I think this camera is working okay. This is my cell phone I'm using for the face cam. I think it's working okay. I'm actually using the audio off the face cam. You can't see it, but I have a Rode mic here that actually is really, it works really well, but it doesn't, my camcorder up here is the only thing that you can plug into now. I can't plug it into my phone. It's not Bluetooth. It actually has like a headphone jack, which cell phones don't have anymore, so I can't use it. It's actually better. I'm using my cell phone audio because it's actually better than an expensive Rode mic plugged into my camcorder, and I don't know what the deal is with my camera. Anyways, I don't even know what I was talking about, but I know. I need to get better lighting. I can see that the lighting is not that good on the table. I'll have to work on that. I'll work on better lighting moving forward with projects moving forward. But for now, let's see if we can use a little of this rub and buff. I'm going to grab a new one of these guys. These, by the way, the rub and buff, these work really well with rub and buff. So I'll just take a little bit on the corner. I'll kind of soften it up on the corner. And then what I like to do, hopefully you guys can see this, is just kind of, so whichever way, however I think this is going to get damaged, I want to try to take it and hit it. So like this, and I kind of want to come from different angles. And I'm trying to hit the edges. And I can grab a little bit more, soften it up, and come heavy. And you can buff it off. Sometimes I just buff it with my finger. I want to hit these edges. Come across like that. That might be a little too much, so I'll kind of buff it with my finger or use the other side of the pad and then just kind of hit it up there across those edges. And now can you see, and again, you got to be careful not go overboard. Can you see what we're kind of doing here? How we're getting some marks into it, and then we can again buff it down if we want to. Like that's a little too much for me, or I can just give it a little bit more of a, like really wear out that edge there. Maybe, that's a real wear spot. And I want to come to the other side. But there you go. So I just want to kind of give the example of how you can do some rub and buff to give worn spots. And then you can also go back with the blue. In fact, let me do his hand a little bit, because you would think his hand would be a little bit, would definitely have some dings and nicks. So that was too much for my liking. But see, I can buff it back, which is the whole point of this stuff, is just kind of buff it back. But his fist would, his knuckles, I should say, I would think would be a little worn. Can y'all see how that came out on his knuckles? It's a really good way, I think. Like there's a high point right there that I want to bring out, and then the back side of his arm. And I like to try to come from different angles, and there you go. You start to really get a worn. Oh boy! Hopefully, I wish this would focus better. I think you guys can see that, how you get that kind of worn in metal look. Do the back side of the arm. You don't want to leave any, anything I don't know what the right word is, unweathered. Otherwise it won't look uniform. And you can even do, like, we can come across this silver parts, and you pick it up a little bit through the washes we were doing. But yeah, I like how I think that looks good, especially with the blue. The blue we used has a metal flake, so it really makes it look like an anodized metal. And again, I always have to stop myself because you can easily go overboard. And let me I'm going to buff this down a little bit. I'm going to try to at least. Let's hit back in here a little bit. Because this, you would think it would wear a lot back in these joint spots like this here. Yeah, like that. Probably in here. That's just where it would wear. Nice. Okay. I like how that looks. Sorry, I'm looking up at the camera again to make sure that you guys can kind of see what we're doing here. Really gives it a metallic look, I think. Let me know what you think down in the comments section, because we're about to run out of time. So I think what I'm going to do is we'll do this. You got to see the process for the black wash and for the rub and buff. I think I'll finish it up off camera. And then I'm going to try to get it done. I've actually got to get this video. I've run out of back catalog on my videos. So this is for tomorrow. This is actually going to be going up tomorrow. Today being Friday, it's going to go up on Saturday, this video here. So I'm going to try to get it finished so that I can have pictures. But what I might end up doing, I don't know if I'm going to have time to actually get this finished right now. So what I think I'll do is I'll finish up kind of this arm section here. I'm going to take pictures of it, and then I'll put those at the end of the video here, so you can get a better look. Sometimes I can tell that the lighting's not that great right now, and YouTube compression really makes it hard to see things. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish up this section, the gun, the arm, all this with the black washes and the rub and buff, and then I'll take some good pictures of it so you can see, kind of see just get a better look at what's going on. But anyways, let me know. Let me know down in the comment section. One, did you watch all the way to the end? Did you make it through all my ramblings and bad sticker placements? Let me know down in the comments if there's something you'd like to change, or something that you anything from the builds we're making to how it's being filmed, the technical side of it. Just let me know down in the comments. Hit that like button. It does help in the algorithms. Leave those comments. That really helps in the algorithms. Hit the subscribe button if you want to keep up with these builds. This is going to be actually the last video on the Gundam. Like I said, I'm going to finish up this arm, take pictures of it. I'll finish the whole Gundam, and I'll probably put a bunch of pictures of that in the community section. Once the whole thing is done. I meant to mention, I do have a little piece of MDF board that I think I'm going to paint up. Hopefully you guys can kind of see this. I think I'm going to paint this up. I'll make a base for it. Once that all is done, I'll take some photos of it, and then I'll post all that in the community section so everybody can see it. But anyways, that's it for now. Thank you for joining me. We're going to have a whole new build tomorrow, so come back for that. And I'll see you then. Bye-bye.